Music labels have a very big role in K-pop. Their management can literally make or break their artists. Big three privilege is a discussion almost always going on in K-pop. With that, here is me discussing biggest K-pop companies based on how they manage their artists. Almost every company has its flaws, so I am discussing them from least to worst. On number 10, we have HYBE. No other company protects their idol like HYBE do. They had it rough in the start with their earlier groups like 88 not getting enough recognition and their first girl group Glam getting in blackmailing scandals, which made it difficult for any girl group to debut under hype. But their trust in their artists, like BTS, respecting their choices and giving them creative freedom to make their own kind of music is something commendable. Their marketing is extraordinary. Nobody broke the geographical boundaries like BTS did. And even with Garam, they tried their best to support their artists. Number 9, we have Starship Entertainment. Starship has a pretty much very clean history with their groups. They manage Wunhu's scandal gracefully, and they're still doing good with Monster X. They have gathered humongous success with their group IVE. Their debut is considered one of the best debut of K-pop of all time. The only slightly bad thing they did with their management was their favoritism for wonyoung, which they cleared in Love Dive. At number 8, we have RPW Entertainment. They also have a few scandals under their belt. They mishandled Esna and almost stole her song and failed to protect her from all those online bullies. Also, the way they haven't given any decent comeback to Mamamoo after Dinga is making everybody question their skills. They have extremely talented artists like Mamamoo and Purple Kiss under them, and yet they are finding it hard to make it big in the industry. At number 7, we have JYP Entertainment. JYP has its fair share of issues, like overworking Twice, giving NMIX a bad debut song, and not supporting his male artists. Yet you have to admit that Twice couldn't have been this successful if it wasn't JYP pushing them forward. No wonder they still want to continue as a group. Twice never had amazing vocals or out of world talent, but their hard work and JYP's trust in them and him giving them good songs continuously was what made Twice Nation's girl group. ITZY's new title tracks might be questionable for some, but the fact that they're still getting good promotions and decent breaks between comebacks is good management at company's part. With that being said, JYP Entertainment ruined GOT7's career. They had a very decent discography, and all the members were super popular, having the potential to be the next kings of K-pop. But their management failed them. J Park, who was once leader of 2PM, said that how JYP hates any boy groups that's successful than him. But at the other hand, I loved the way how they handled Jonghyun's situation. They gave her a break when she was in mental distress. They are trying their best to incorporate her into Twice again. And I think Twice have started cute concepts again because Junghyun finds it difficult to dance to those mature concepts with extremely hard choreographies. At number 6, we have YG. K-pop fans have a love and hate relationship with YG. He at one point was considered the worst CEO, but the fact that he pays the most share to his idols than any other company makes him more respectable as a chairman. He has a very bad habit of making their groups go on long hiatuses. One of the main reasons that Blackpink gets so much hate is that they rarely work as idols, but at the same time they are extremely successful and influential as fashion icons because YG managed them in that way, marketed them to the world, and made them what they are now. On the other hand, YG never debuted group from Mix 9, so he is lower than JYP. SM. SM is the biggest K-pop company today, and only their name tag will guarantee their group's success. With such influence, of course, they take a lot from their idols. And according to an estimate, they pay their idols one of the lowest shares from sales in the whole industry. Moreover, SM have this weird obsession with Kwangya, and he tries his best to include every group under him in Kwangya universe, which affects music quality of some of the groups. aespa is doing great with this concept, but we cannot say the same about others. SM is notorious for recycling songs, and aespa had a remake as their first comeback. SM tend to make the most experimental songs out of Big Three, and some of the time they can be extremely questionable. They are quite strict with their idols. Most of them are not allowed to sing live except in concerts. Their vocals are great, so we can forgive him for that. Pledis has always been infamous about their girl groups. They ruined monster rookies like Priston. They ruined one of the biggest acts of K-pop after school, when they could literally top the scene in girl groups of second gen. The only group they managed better was 17, and a lot of that comes from the talent and popularity members have. So they can be termed as careless type of management companies like Cube. They won't give a damn about you if you are not famous enough. They won't give you work if you don't have enough selling power yourself. DSP. DSP Media is one of the oldest companies out there. They had groups like FinKL, Sex Keys, and Kara under their belt. And now with April disbanding, they have only Card and Mirai. DSP Media has always been a very controversial company overall. They allegedly forced Sex Keys to disband. They tried to take FinKL's money by fraudulent means. Trying to milk Kara's career, they made a bad reality show Kara project, and even after that, couldn't manage to pull them longer than 7 years. They let bullying spread in their groups like April. They couldn't promote Card in South Korea. Even after 7 years and lots of tours, they are still unknown in Korea. Cube is giving a very hard competition to the top one. Cube is definitely one of the worst companies out there. They've made some of the most iconic groups and songs, and yet none of the K-pop fans remember them in good words. They kicked out Hyuna and Dawn for a dating scandal which could have easily been managed, and ruined both 4 Minute and Pentagon. They ruined CLC girls. They are good at making girl crush songs, and yet they insist on making cute songs for Lightsome and trying their best to make their fate similar to CLC. And lastly, but most importantly, they didn't support Sujin. They didn't pursue her case. She had to do all the apologies herself. Her company totally failed to protect her. Cube had the potential to be in the big three, but due to all the scandals and their mishandling, they are barely surviving in this competition. Not to mention their music videos are one of the cheapest out of big companies. And finally, the worst company of all time, MLD Entertainment. And rightly so. They are currently managing groups like Momoland, T1419, and Lapillus. And their work is disappointing with pretty much every other group. They destroyed Momoland's gigantic career by kicking their most popular members out on their peak and forgot to give them a decent comeback. And worse, their collabs, which were very few and far in between, were named comebacks and fans were asked to bear with it. They gave T1419 a very bad name and mediocre songs, and now they are doing the same with Lapillus. Lapillus had extremely popular members pre debut, and they gave them a song like Hit Ya for their debut. But worst of all, they failed to protect Nancy's privacy. The only reason they are worse than Cube is how one of their staff members spread Nancy's changing videos on internet. This is like the worst thing you could do to your artist. What do you think about my list? How do you rank them and do you stand companies?